President, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Master Cutler, my Lord Mayor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for the Chief Executive of Sheffield City Council, Sir Bob Kerslake.
Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Master Cutler, Lord Mayor, Members of Parliament, President, distinguished guests, the rest of you, good evening. I've been invited to speak this evening because this will be my last chamber dinner as Chief Executive of Sheffield City Council. And I'm really delighted to be given the opportunity. Now, you'll all know that the last speech is the opportunity to get that revenge in, to deal with all the people who've slighted you and the City Council over the last decade. Now, recognising that you've got a long night ahead of you, I've cut the speech down to a couple of hours. In fact, really, I have no revenge to take. It has been a terrific 10 years for me. And I want to take the opportunity this evening to reflect on those 10 years, the achievements, and talk about the next 10 years ahead. It has been an enormous wrench, but also a huge opportunity to become the Chief Executive of the Homes and Communities Agency. It has a target to build 3 million homes by 2020, 70,000 of those affordable. It has a target to tackle regeneration and revive some of our most deprived communities, and a budget of something like £8 billion over the next 3 years alone. So a big challenge, and I was very keen to get off to a good start. Imagine my good fortune then when I met a very senior civil servant on the way back to the north a couple of weeks ago, a man who has the personal ear of Gordon Brown. And I asked him where he was going, and he is a Canadian, and I thought he said Leicester. We were on the train having a very good conversation, and I looked out the window, and there in front of us was Leicester Station. I immediately grabbed him and said, "This is your station, you must get off here." At which he took his bags and quickly bundled himself off of the train. Now, I thought this was something he would be eternally grateful for, and I think he would have been, except for the fact that the station he was meant to get off was Loughborough. He was going to Leicestershire, as he pronounced it. I'm now expecting some very tough targets in the next few years ahead. The job of Chief Executive in Sheffield brings many varied challenges. We're paid a lot as Chief Executives, and rightly people expect a lot of us. I have to say, though, when I came to Sheffield, nothing prepared me for the lady in Walkley, who said to me that she really enjoyed the city, but she was getting a bit old, and the hills were very steep. And what was I going to do about it? This challenge seemed to be only exceeded by the prospect of trying to get both of Sheffield's football teams in the Premier League. Sheffield, I got a few people going there. Sheffielders are not backward in coming forward. I remember one of our meetings, somebody suggested we ought to produce a leaflet on how to complain. And one of the old hands said to me, "Look, this is Sheffield. Nobody needs a leaflet on how to complain." But by any measure, this has been a terrific period for Sheffield. We've made excellent progress. And actually the relationships between the Chamber and business, and particularly the Chamber of Commerce, have been excellent as well. I hope the Council's played a big part in this, but much of the credit must go to successive presidents and to Nigel Tomlinson, your Chief Executive. Nigel and I almost exactly coincide in the time that we've been in Sheffield, and I think it's been an immensely fruitful partnership. It has been founded on a relationship of trust and a clear understanding of our different roles. There have been many positive exchanges and a few robust ones as well. But we've always understood that the interests of the city are usually best served if our differences are sorted out in private and not in public. Before I go on to talk about the future, let me take you back 10 years to the Sheffield as I found it. This was a recognisably great city, but underperforming on almost every count. Some very strong attempts have been made to take the city out of the economic shock in which it lost a quarter of its jobs. But this had not done the task. Most of all, there was a lack of confidence, a belief that the city could get better. And this lack of confidence was most acute in the business community, resulting in low levels of new investment and jobs growth. Relationships between the council and business had improved, but there was still a sense of mistrust and a lack of shared vision. The city centre had suffered a triple whammy of the impact of Meadowhall, the disruption of the Supertram, and the economic downturn, and was in a very fragile state. What was evident to me, though, was a powerful desire for change. I vividly recall meeting the leader, Mike Bauer, after my appointment and saying to him, the advert said, willing to change, wanting to change, ready for change. What is it you want to change? He said to me, everything. A clear brief for a new chief executive. Turn forward 10 years, and we can see that a new sense of optimism and confidence has been fostered. The most visible change has been in the city centre, with developments like Heart of the City, Barker's Pool and the Station Gateway, award-winning schemes, and with more still to come in Digital Campus and in the new retail quarter. At the same time, there has been a massive improvement in confidence for the city as a whole. Behind this visible change are some really powerful statistics. And I can do no better than to borrow from Ian Bromley's speech at the launch of the Economic Master Plan. Unemployment has fallen rapidly and is now in line with the national average. It was over 2% above the national average for nearly 20 years. Sheffield has experienced the highest level of jobs growth of all of the major cities in the 10 years to 2005, with 73,000 net new jobs. 2 of the 10 fastest growing local authority areas in the country are in this Sheffield City region, Sheffield and Doncaster. Between 1998 and 2005, the Sheffield City region's knowledge economy has grown by 27% compared to a national average of 17%. Sheffield's jobs growth in business and financial services is up by 57% in the 10 years to 2005, again the fastest of all the core cities. Sheffield City region's growth in creative and digital industries is up 32% in 5 years, again the fastest amongst all of the core city regions. Since 2002, over 5 million square feet of major commercial development has been completed in Sheffield, worth over £750 million. According to Knight Frank, Sheffield's office rents have increased by more than 40% over the last 4 years, the highest increase of any of the UK's major regional office markets. I could go on, but you'll get the picture.